What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is the greatest attack jet you've never heard of. The A-37 Dragonfly, the Super Tweet.
I like dragonflies.
Yeah, dragonflies are pretty cool. Have you ever heard of this?
No, I'm guessing many people haven't heard of it.
But that's what I mean, I've never heard of it either. You hear about the Warthog, the F-15 and stuff. I've done his video on the F-15. A-37 Dragonfly, doesn't ring a bell. I think I'd remember Dragonfly as well.
Yeah, I feel like I'd remember that.
It's a name to remember, definitely, because obviously it is the bug as well. Smash that button if you enjoy, guys. Smash that subscribe button, would really appreciate it. Let us know what other fighter lectures and videos you want us to check out. His link's in the description as always. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get into it. What we got?
Pretty much everybody already knows about America's gun with wings, the A-10 Warthog, and a ton of more people already know that its grandpa is the original Thunderbolt, the P-47, and its dad is the A-1 Skyraider. But pretty much nobody talks about the A-10's mom, which is actually where it got the DNA.
The A-10's mom. Wow, I didn't know the Skyraider. Never heard of Skyraider.
No.
I don't know if you have either. So if there's a video on that, let us know. We'll check it out.
For a nose-mounted minigun. Today we're talking about the A-37 Dragonfly, aka the Super Tweet.
Okay. What a name.
Stick to what you're good at.
It's quite long. Wingspan's long.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a 5,000-pound fighter jet carrying 3,000 pounds of napalm. Ooh. That is literally a ton and a half of firepower in a very small package.
Series 4, de-Adam.
Oh my god.
And on the off chance that 3,000 pounds of jungle jelly wasn't going to be enough to get the job done, it also has a GAU-2 minigun underneath the hood, capable of firing 3,000 rounds per minute. The only downside with that was it could only actually carry 1,500 rounds with it, but hey, it's going to be a wild 30 seconds.
It was okay at best.
I wasn't talking to you. Anyways, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, the A-37 is the aerial equivalent of a go-kart covered in guns. This thing is absolutely tiny. To put it into perspective, the F-4 Phantom, which was the other fighter jet used all the time during Vietnam, was weighing in at 55,000 pounds, and the Dragonfly is coming in at 5. However, despite its small
I mean, I thought it was quite big. I thought the wingspan looked quite big on it, but obviously it's super light and not big at all.
No, it kind of looks small though from what we just saw.
Yeah, I want
to more than the other ones.
I want to see it compared to another, like next to another plane. But if it's only 5,000, that's mad. Compared to 55,000, that is mad. Like big
stature,
big
and the fact that it gets literally no recognition for it at all. It is arguably the most effective fighter jet of the entire Vietnam War.
Wow.
Once upon a time in 1952, the United States Air Force came out and said, hey, we need to incorporate more jets into our fleet. The only problem is we don't have many pilots that actually know how to fly a jet. So we need to get a new type of jet trainer plane that we can train all of our pilots on. Cue the Cessna T-37. It was absolutely perfect. It was small, cheap, easy to take off, easy to land, super easy to fly, and it had side-by-side seating for an instructor and a student. This jet was so perfect that it was actually the U.S. Air Force's primary jet trainer for 52 years. It didn't retire until 2009. The only problem with the T-37 is that it generated a very, very high-pitched shrieking noise while it was running.
Oh, it's getting louder. Is it a biggie?
That noise unaffectionately earned it nicknames like the Screamin' Mimi, the 6,000-pound dog whistle, my personal favorite, the Converter, due to its unique ability to convert fuel into fucking noise, and of course, the Tweety Bird, which would later be abbreviated to simply the Tweet. And that's pretty much all you need to know for right now. Fast forward to Vietnam. Alright, so Vietnam, basically the United States is finding out the hard way that ultra-fast fighter jets like the F-4 simply are not that great at providing close air support to troops on the ground. As it turns out, it's pretty hard to aim a bomb while you're traveling at the speed of Mach fuck and actually hit the target, not a thunk. And as we've talked about in a previous video, this is actually where the Navy's A-1 Skyraider is performing way better than anybody thought it should, due to its ability to fly low and slow and actually engage a target accurately. The Air Force, seeing all the Navy's success, said, hey, we need to do the same thing. The only problem was the Air Force didn't have Skyraiders, and they didn't have the time to come up with a whole new plane, so what do? You take the Air Force's T-37 trainer jet that every pilot you've had has been trained on for the last 2 decades, cover it in guns, and send that bitch into combat, obviously. Okay.
I mean, yeah, everyone can use it, I guess.
Yeah.
Whether the guns on it work, it seems like it does, but
Obviously, they didn't just cover it in guns. They also gave it a cool paint job. They swapped out the engines, gave it a couple of General Electric J85s. those are 3 times more powerful than the original engine.
Oh, wow.
And they ran so hot and the Dragonfly sat so low to the ground that it would actually melt the asphalt beneath it if it didn't
Wow.
get going once they started it. And then also, I don't know why I think this is so cool, but I do. These little nub thingies on the end of the wings now, those are extra fuel tanks. Each one of those holds 95 gallons of fuel so that it had a better combat range.
good.
So
Oh,
the Air
wow.
Force created this
Okay.
badass little fighter jet.
Helpful.
The only problem now was none of the actual fighter pilots wanted to fly it because it wasn't cool enough. It was too small. It was too slow. Blah, blah, blah. So the Air Force was like, well, I mean, technically, pretty much every pilot we have has been trained on this thing, so fuck it. They just started pulling pilots from other places like refuelers, supply,
Oh,
cargo
wow.
pilots, everybody. And they just started putting them in these little fucking jets and sending them into combat. Surely this is a recipe for disaster, right? Wrong. The Dragonfly...
Well, it obviously worked, but if you were like a cargo pilot or fuel pilot, you'd be not fuming, but you'd be a bit good, wouldn't you? But,
Yeah.
oh, I've got to go into combat now, because the excuse would have been, oh, I can't fly a warthog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's so complicated. I'm not going to be able to do that. Yeah, you can fly this. Go on into the heart of the battle, I guess.
Definitely.
But I suppose if you want to help your country, you want to help your country.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not always a negative thing. It's just a bit more dangerous, I guess,
Yeah.
isn't it?
and its not fighter pilots would immediately go on a rampage. They quickly became the most accurate close air support aircraft in the entire Vietnam
Wow.
conflict. Their average accuracy was within 45 feet of the designated target. Bah! 45 feet doesn't sound very close to me. Bah! Dude, we're not talking about playing darts here. This is 3,000 pounds of fucking jungle jelly and white phosphorus. Believe me, the only difference between a bullseye and 45 feet is maybe enough time for you to say, oh fuck, before you wake up dead. Not only was the A-37 Dragonfly absolutely devastating to the enemy, but it was also virtually untouchable in the most comical way possible. You see, enemy anti-aircraft gunners were accustomed to firing at F-4 Phantoms traveling at like 1,400 miles an hour. But when the Dragonfly showed up topping out at like 500 miles an hour, the enemy anti-aircraft gunners would always overshoot, so the
Oh,
Dragonfly
wow.
pilots just got to fly and watch all the flak and shit explode like 5 miles in front of them, and then they just got to drive right through it after the fact. Maybe the best example of slow is smooth and smooth is fast I've ever heard. Which brings us to the second chair in the phallic excavation. I mean dick dimple, I mean cockpit. Second chair in the cockpit. Remember how I told you they were side by side, one for student, one for instructor? Well, in the combat version, the Dragonfly, they didn't need a second pilot or a spotter or anything, so the chair just went empty most of the time,
Okay.
because, well, it was more weight for sticky fire. That
Yeah.
was until word got out that these planes pretty much never got shot down, and then all the bigwigs wanted to go on a ride so they could be in a combat mission. If you're not
Oh,
picking up what I'm
wow.
putting down, I'm trying to tell you that that second seat in the A-37's cockpit, it's kind of like that chair in the corner of the hotel room. It pretty much goes unused, and if it is being used, whoever's in it's probably just there to watch. I cannot believe I made that fucking joke. But wait,
Wow.
there's more. Not only is it
Wow.
super accurate, not only is it very safe, it's also extremely easy to maintain and really cheap. The Dragonfly has a 2-to-1 maintenance ratio, meaning
I
that for
mean, especially nowadays, everything costs so much money. If
Yeah.
you can get it cheap, it's a bonus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, especially in a war. If you're in a war, you need a lot of it.
Definitely.
Cheap's the way forward. If it does the job.
If it works.
If
yeah.
it works.
every hour it's flying, it requires 2 hours of maintenance. This means you can give 2 Dragonflies to a crew of maintainers, and they're able to keep one of those birds in the air 24/7 all the time if that's what the mission requires.
Wow.
This is the epitome of accuracy by volume. So just to be clear, when it comes to close air support during Vietnam, it is the most accurate, the safest, and the easiest to maintain aircraft, and you get all of that for $400,000. And that is exactly why nobody knows about this fucking plane. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'll explain it just a little bit slower. The United States military just took a bunch of pilots with subpar training for the tasks that they were assigned, stuck them inside of subpar fighter jets, and then sent them into combat. And then they somehow outperformed the fighter pilots that had actual fighter pilot training
That's mad.
and
Yeah.
the enormous, super expensive fighter jets. Now, be honest, do you really think that the politicians and high-ranking military officers that are in charge of budget-related shit are gonna let the world know that?
That is true.
Absolutely
That
not.
is true.
Okay, we can't have everybody running around knowing that the napalm coming out of a $400,000 plane is just as hot as the napalm coming out of a $5 million plane. It'll be fucking anarchy. As far as the world needs to be concerned, the more money we spend to kill a motherfucker, the more dead he is. I guess.
Wow.
Fucking stupid. So the war in Vietnam ends and the US military cannot get rid of these Dragonflies fast enough. They are literally giving them out for free like they're fucking candy.
That
They're
is
giving
bad, though,
some
isn't
to us.
it? It just shows it is all about money and it's about they want to spend the money.
Yeah.
Why not use it?
Yeah.
Again,
exactly.
let us know, is there more to it? Let us know in the comments below, but like, why not use them? If they're accurate, cheap. Why not?
Why not?
So it just shows that money is the root of it all, isn't it?
Australia. They're giving some to the South Vietnamese. They're giving a bunch to the countries in Central America. Some of the ones that went to Central America are still in service today. That shows you
Wow.
how badass this plane really was. So they give away all these perfectly good planes for free, but then trouble would strike because now guess what? Oh no, America doesn't have a close air support plane anymore. Who could have predicted this? I guess we better just, build a new one. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be better. The minigun in the nose this time is going to be absolutely enormous, and it's all
The
going to come at a
Warthog.
price tag of like fucking 20 times as much. But hey, politicians got to feed their kids somehow, right? Ladies and gentlemen, the best thing to ever come out of political corruption, the A-10 Warthog, aka America's gun with wings. We have now
It is a
officially come
beast.
full circle. So, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the A-37 Dragonfly is the most effective fighter jet that you've probably never heard of, and it's all because it and the men that flew it were way too good at their job for their price tag.
That's good.
Thank you for watching the video. Best
Oh,
way to support the channel is go buy some merch.
I mean, awesome shout out to the people who actually did it, because at the end of the day, they were skilled enough.
They're the reason, aren't they?
Yeah, they weren't trained, but they were skilled enough to take their
Yeah.
skills into it, which is awesome. Nice little bit of history. I didn't think the Warthog would come into it, but now we kind of hear a little bit of the origin story
Yeah.
of the Warthog, the
Yeah.
reason why it came about, kind of the gun on the front, a little
Yeah.
bit cannoned off a Dragonfly.
Well, they're kind of connected in a
I
way.
definitely didn't
Yeah.
know that, so which is awesome. Makes sense with the mum comment now at the start. And yeah, that was awesome, wasn't
It
it?
was good.
Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We're recording on my lunches nowadays, aren't we?
We
'Cause
are.
Obviously, Archie is asleep at the moment. Oh no, he's not staring at me.
Oh,
Hello,
we
good
better
boy.
go.
We better go. But smash that like button, guys. Smash the subscribe button. I'm off back to work. And what should we do?
Have a fantastic day.
And we'll see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.